World of Matchups, Week 7, Best Bets. Dexter Reed, Spencer the Wiz, Blue Milk Boys Gaming. So, Spencer, you hit your best bet last week, yes?
Yeah, I'm 2 in a row. I got 2
So
in a row.
we
I
will
took
let
the Vikings
you,
over
we
the
will let you,
Dolphins.
Vikings showed up. So we will let you go first because my pick that I told everybody to bet their house on left a lot of people homeless. So you go first this week.
That's right. I'm going for 3 in a row, I believe. I'm on a hot streak right now. And I'm going to be a little bit of a homer, but so I'm taking the Raiders -7 over the Texans. Here's the thing. Dude, Raiders fans are the most dramatic people in the world. But here's the reality of the Raiders season so far. They could easily be undefeated. They could be 500. Every game has come down to the last possession. And it just hasn't gone their way this year. Last year it did. This year it's not. This is a 500 football club. I think everybody really knew that coming into the season. It's like if the Raiders played in the Jaguars division, they'd be the best team in the division. That's not reality. They have to play at least 4 really tough football games against the Chargers and the Chiefs every year. Everyone thought the Broncos would be good. That obviously hasn't worked out so well for them, but the Raiders have a tough schedule. Did they get better over the offseason? Yes, they did, but everyone around them got significantly better. So everyone knew this was a 500 football club. So when they play 500 football, suddenly everyone's mad. Now I know 1 and 4 is here, but they have a soft part of the schedule. The idea behind if they were going to make the playoffs, everybody would agree that if they were going to make the playoffs, they had to win 2 or 3 games going into the bye week, and they didn't. But now I think they're going to rip off a few wins. It's going to feel better, and they're going to go at 8 wins and pick 15th in the draft. This is what I said in the beginning of the season. So yes, is it upsetting for me to watch the Raiders lose? Yes, it ruins my day. Like that's the thing. Like you want to. I say all these things that I know about the Raiders, but I still suit up on Sunday. I'm sitting at home. I got my jersey on. I want to see them win, and they lose. That's just what they do. That's been my life as a Raiders fan, and it still bums me out. But I'm still realistic in the idea that yes, I knew this team was going to win 7 or 8 games. So how upset can I really be when they win 7 or 8 games? Because that's just how the cookie crumbles. Look, they're playing the worst team in the NFL in the Texans this week. That's the reality of the situation. They're going to blow them out of the water. And if they don't, then I'd be hilarious. But and I could see them it could be like a 35 to like 15 game or 14, something crazy like that, or 13. This team's fired up. They've lost a bunch of close games, and I'm just saying the well has to end at some point. The offense woke up against the Chiefs. If the offense is like that against the Chiefs, they have an extra week to prepare. I mean, come on. What are the Texans going to be able to stop Davante Adams? This guy is going to just start killing people. He's already had a good season, by the way. The idea, it just drives me crazy. Thinking back to that Titans game. Oh, Malik. Hollins, he gets 150 yards. Davante Adams doesn't get anything. It's like, dude, that's how defenses work. We have been so obsessed with stats that we forget that there's an actual football game to play. You know why Mac had 100 yards? It's because they triple teamed Davante Adams, and that opened the game up for him. So I want the win. I don't care if a guy gets as many targets as he wants. I want a W. But I think that they're starting to figure it out. Look, this is a brand new head coach, a brand new system, a brand new GM. It was never, ever, ever going to come together. And every week they're going to get better. And every week they have gotten better. And that's the reality of the situation. So I think that this is just going to be, I'm probably going to take the over in the Raiders. But if you just want one bet for best bet, I'm going to take the Raiders -7 this week.
Raiders -7, best bet. I agree with everything you said. I really do. Coming off a bye, look, if the Raiders had better coaching, they would have beat Kansas City. They'd have at least 3 or 4 wins, I believe, if Rich Bisaccia was still in town. A couple things are concerning to me about this game. One, Darren Waller is out again. Hunter Renfrow, very questionable, to on the bad side of doubtful and out. Those are 2 huge pieces. I do think that Houston will do everything they can to stop Josh Jacobs. Conversely, the Raiders need to do everything they can to stop Dameon Pierce. Lovie Smith has made it clear in public at press conferences that Dameon Pierce has to touch the ball 20 to 25 times. If they get that guy going, that's a way that Houston can stay in a game. I do like the Raiders. I do not like the -7. If I'm betting, I'm taking Raider money line all day, every day. But just because I've seen the Raiders Raider, when you gotta have it, I can see a situation where Houston will cover this number. I do think that it's been so long since the Raiders just had a convincing, dominating, home win that this spot just reeks of it. And it's really hard to not lay the money. But I've been watching the Raiders as a fan of the AFC West now for years. And this is the type of game that you watch them just fall apart after being up 14 points and win by 3, with a Daniel Carlson 70-yard field goal. Like it's
no
some
kidding.
nonsense like that. Because look, the term Raiders are going to Raider was coined because this is how they play. It's never easy. It's a circus show. You know what? If I'm betting, I'm taking Houston plus the points. I see your point. I could see an argument for it being 31-3. But even though Houston is bad, I don't think they're the worst team in the league, honestly. I really don't. I think there's other teams that are worse.
Who's worse than Texans?
I think Denver's worse than the Texans.
You really? No, that's not true.
I think Denver's terrible, dude. Denver's coaching is horrible.
They would never, ever be able to beat the 49ers. The Texans. No,
I don't know,
way,
man.
no shot, dude. What Texans team have you been watching?
I say never. I never say never in the National Football League.
No,
the Panthers are worse than Houston.
Okay, well, yeah, all right. I give you that.
I never say never in the National Football League, man. Styles make fights and matchups. This is why we're a world of matchups here. And anything can happen. A lucky bounce here, a tip pass there, a solid running game can change the complexion of a game. And so I'm going to go against you here. I like Houston plus the points, but I could easily see a world where this is 34-10. My pick. And before I even get started, I said it with my chest last week. I always say it with my chest because I'm not scared to lay a prediction, man. If I had a crystal ball, I wouldn't be doing this show with you. I'd be on my yacht somewhere. But I told everybody to take the Jags, and the Jags were up 17-3. So, look, I didn't know what I was talking about. They just fell apart, man. They made Matt Ryan look like freaking Joe Montana. So I'm sorry about that, guys. But, again, just so you guys know, man, this is something that we do for fun. Like this isn't a handicapping show. If you're out there and you're losing money based off something that we said, that's on you. Your wallet's not in my pocket. But that being said, I'm going to double down again and say it with my chest this week. My best bet, Packers minus 4.5 on the road at the Commanders. Look, the Packers have been absolutely horrible this year. They get their shit pushed in by both New York teams back-to-back weeks. Now, they lost both of those games. They didn't give those games away. So the Packers have shown you that they're not playing good football right now. Do they have good players? 100%. Do they have talent? 100%. But the Packers are kind of going through what Kansas City is going through right now. Life without your star player. Devontae Adams is no longer there. So you're now trying to mix pieces like, Alan Lazard and Romeo Doubs, Mike, Robert Tonyan, old man Randall Cobb is there, but he's now out. But they're not playing to their strengths. Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, you're not using these guys properly. Coach, what are you doing? Okay, and then you have Mr. Piss and Vinegar, the most surly player in all of professional sports next to Tom Brady is Aaron Rodgers. And people are starting to throw dirt on his grave. Now, we're flying to the worst stadium in all of football with one of the worst teams in all of football, with the worst owner in all of football, and one of the worst cultures in all of football. In comes Taylor Heineke for Carson Wentz because Carson, broke his pussy and had surgery. And now we have to play the Commanders, who I don't think have a whole lot of talent. I.e., look at that Thursday night game they played against the Bears, which was one of the worst games. My eyes were bleeding. I got home, my eyes were red. I was like, what's going on? Oh, yeah, I watched Thursday Night Football because those two teams are horrendous. Nobody on God's green earth can convince me that the Packers are not better than this team anywhere. All at home, on the road, a neutral field, I think 4.5 points is right. I think we get an A.J. Dillon week. I think we get an Aaron Jones week. I think we definitely get a Aaron Rodgers week. We get on track here. That secondary in Washington is absolutely disgusting. And look, if the Packers cannot blow this team out by 10 points, the Packers are a 6-team win. A 6-win team. It's really just that simple. Okay. Look, I like Matt LaFleur. I like the culture in Green Bay. I've watched Green Bay football in Green Bay on multiple occasions. Monday Night Football, the mystique is everything. This is a proud franchise. They are not as bad as losing to the Jets and the Giants. I'm sorry. Are those bad losses? They're huge losses. but I have this vision in my mind of Sauce Gardner walking around Lambeau Field wearing a cheese head,
I
and
know.
that's just pissing people off. And what I do know is that when I bet on an angry Aaron Rodgers, I win money. I win money. When Aaron Rodgers wants to show the world I'm still here, I win money. And so he's still the most careful quarterback with the football. He doesn't turn the football over.
No.
I think the defense is still better than advertised. They've played a couple bad games. They've looked at some film this week. Brian Robinson is Antonio Gibson. Those guys are going to run all over the Packers. I don't think so. Taylor Heineken is a backup quarterback. He's not good. The spread to me sounds suspect, but
I
I'm
know.
going to
It's
put
almost
my
like they know
money.
something we don't.
Yeah, so I mean, is there something going on? Does is Aaron's toe hurting him again? Like 4.5? This is a game they should win by 10, no problem. Tanyan is flashing. They'll get him more involved. Look, the Packers have weapons. It's life without Devontae. That's what it is right now.
Yeah.
And I can't think of a more get right spot than to fly and play a horrible Commanders team with a backup quarterback. That team should be galvanized because they played with Heineke before. And secretly in my mind, I believe that they're tired of Carson Wentz already. So they may be rallying behind Heineke, but Jair Alexander will take Terry McLaurin down. They should pressure Heineke. They should blitz. I think it's going to turn into a couple turnovers. This is my lock bet of the week. Take the 4.5, lay the points, and go to Sizzler on Sunday night.